This is the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. I'm Kevin Scholla in the Narrowgate Security Agency studios.
With both sides, they're slaughtering each other as they scream over an arbitrary red line, Allah Akbar. I say, until we have someone who knows what they're doing, I say, let Allah sort it out.
Never afraid to speak her mind, Sarah Palin calls it like it is, in no uncertain terms. If you like Governor Palin's unfiltered approach, you'll love our guest today. In a moment, you'll meet Army veteran Prissy Holly. The mom of two has started a new news site called newsfoxes.com, where women speak out against the liberalism that's tearing America apart. You'll hear about Prissy's military service and her unique perspective on Islam and Barack Obama. Prissy Holly coming up. Sarah Palin sends a shout-out to our friend Span Cordell. A brand new installment of Liberty and Legacy with Tamara Colbert is on the way from Texas. And just ahead, our latest edition of Steel Resolve with Sarah Steelman in Missouri. Welcome to the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. The Palin Update is sponsored by Narrowgate Security Agency. Learn more at narrowgate.com. Well, if you like outspoken women, two things are for sure. One, you're not a liberal or an establishment Republican. And two, you'll love today's guest. Prissy Holly, the creator of newsfoxes.com, an Army veteran, joins us today to talk about Islam, Obama, our brave men and women in uniform, and much more. And right now, Prissy Holly joins us on the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. Prissy, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on, Kevin.
Well, it's great to have you. And first of all, let's tell people a little bit about your background and thank you for your service to our country. You commissioned in the Army of the United States back in 2006, and you were in Iraq in 2007. Tell everybody a little bit about your military background.
Well, when we deployed, I was attached to an infantry unit, and I wasn't directly on the front lines or anything, but I was in charge of a detention facility, and they put me in charge of the super maximum compound. So I've seen the worst of the worst extremist detainees up close and personal. So it was quite the experience. There was about 900 of them underneath me. So we had one side that was Shia Muslims, and the other side was Sunni. So we had to keep them separated because they absolutely hated each other and hated us too. So,
you know, it's always interesting to talk to soldiers and people who have been there, and especially women. I think you get a different perspective. We've had our friends of the program, Skylar Vanell and Erica Diggs, here on the program, people who now are in civilian life but have that military background. And, you know, I always think of Sarah Palin's support for the military. Every time Governor Palin speaks, she always makes sure that the military members in attendance rise and are recognized. And, you know, plenty of politicians could do something like that, but Palin, like she often does in all the issues and where she stands on things, she walks the walk too. I mean, her son is still active. She has military members in her family, including her cousin J.D. Morgan, another friend of the show. So what do you see when you see someone like Governor Palin and her love of our military, and contrast that with President Obama?
oh my gosh, the disdain that Obama has for our military, it's just absolutely nauseating. And, you know, that was one of the key reasons that I decided to resign my commission from the military. You know, I had a very long list of reasons, but that was one of them. It's like, you know, how can you serve under a commander-in-chief that just hates you so much? And, you know, you see what happened in Benghazi and how he traded 5 Gitmo terrorists for pretty much a traitor to the military. And it's like, you know, I'm not going to go and put my life on the line knowing that my government might just leave me out there to rot. You know, it's really crazy times, but
yeah, it's scary. I mean, for these brave men and women who are in our military, an all-volunteer force, and then to have someone like this, you know, the most lawless and radical president by far that we've ever had in our history. Is this the same sentiment you're getting from other military members that you talk to? Because it sure is to the ones that I speak to. You know, some on active duty are afraid to talk sometime, and understandable, because we've seen how this administration has gone after people, whether it be in private life or in uniform, of those who disagree. But
Right.
I've heard this again and again from people in uniform that they are just sick and tired of how they're treated. And also, look at the veterans. Look at how veterans have been treated under this administration.
Yeah. Well, some of the people that I talked to, they were a little bit leery about, bashing him because he is, quote unquote, the commander in chief. You're not supposed to say anything wrong about him. But, me and my big mouth, I really didn't care. And I was always making sure that the soldiers underneath me understood that the oath that we took to support and defend the Constitution, it's not just against foreign enemies, it's against domestic enemies also. And I cannot, with a clear conscience, serve under this president because I believe that he is a domestic terrorist. He is the enemy of the United States of America. And that might seem a little bit extreme to some people, but I could go down a list of incidents where I believe it's true. So,
well, again and again, we have talked on this program about one of the things I love about Governor Palin, other than, I agree with her on most things, but besides that, is her outspokenness, her willingness to call it as it is, her willingness to say things unfiltered, to talk the way families talk around their kitchen table and talk about real concerns that they have for their jobs and for their families and for their liberties that are being stripped little by little every day. And I think that's what you're doing, Prissy, with your new news site, which we want to talk about a little bit here. You're out there, and some people may think that your style is provocative or shocking, and perhaps it is to some. But you know what? We've seen even Bristol Palin of late has used some choice language in her blog and has been blasted by some on the left and the right for that. But you know what? When your country is being attacked and your Constitution is being shredded and your rights are being taken away, you should be pretty mad. And sometimes the best way to convey that message to others is with colorful language and with as much animation and emotion as possible. And I think that's what you've been trying to convey.
Yeah, we just have to get loud. Political correctness right now is what is killing our country, and it's a tactic that the left uses to silence us. And I will not be silenced. If I have a little bit of colorful language come out, with my passion, then so be it. And if you have an issue with it, well, I'm sorry, but I fought for this country so we can all have our First Amendment rights put in place, and I'm going to continue to use my freedom of speech to say what's on my mind and hopefully wake some people up in the process.
Now, what about your new site? Let's tell everybody what it is and what they can find there.
Okay, well, newsfoxes.com is my new site, and I've brought together a group of just amazing women. I have 11 writers, and they all range from, hardcore right-wingers to more of like the middle ground to libertarians. I have a couple people that are, like borderline like anarchists, but basically, I kind of want to have a little bit of I kind of want to have a little bit of everything, something for everybody, as long as they're not liberals, because I won't have any liberal writers, but, I just want to kind of bring a little bit of an attitude, and I've told my writers, I'm like, I will not censor you. The only thing that I'll do is just make sure that, your headline is good and your content's on the mark, and everything's factual. But besides that, I'm giving these ladies free rein to say what's on their mind, and as long as they can back up what they're saying, then they just have free rein to say whatever they want. So I think that's important, just not to censor anybody. Well, especially when we're trying to get the truth out and wake up America.
And it makes me think of Governor Palin again, because here you are, you're talking about women, and you're talking about common sense, and you're talking about conservatism, and you're talking about a libertarian streak, and these are all things that you can use to describe what Governor Palin's been fighting for over these last few years and months and days and, every day here, and calling out this administration and calling out the nonsense and the craziness that we've seen, not only from the left, but also from the establishment Republicans in Washington and in our state capitals, and calling it out in a way that people can understand and in a way that really shows the urgency that we need to act. You're a mama grizzly yourself. You have 2 children. I mean, this is not just about us, right, Prissy? I mean, this is about our kids.
It is, and I get terrified when I think about the type of future that my girls are going to have. We have 170,000 Syrian refugees that are getting ready to invade. And yes, I said that word, invade. They are going to invade our country. Obama is bringing these people over. They're completely unvetted. And the thing I keep going back to is Al Jazeera did a poll, and they asked the people in the Middle East, do they support ISIS? And 84% of the Muslims in the Middle East said that they support the actions of ISIS. So, I mean, if you just do the simple math on that, I mean, what's 84% of 170,000 people? And most of these people that are coming over are in the ages of 24, fighting age males. I mean, it's astonishing. It's like, am I going to have to sit here and worry about my daughters one day, being slaves, sex slaves? I mean, it's not too inconceivable when you see the types of people that are being brought in here. And then on top of that, our southern border's wide open. It's really scary.
Governor Palin had said a while back, and you call it your big mouth. I call it your common sense, really, but outspokenness is another way to put it. But Governor Palin said a while back, and she caught flack for this, mentioning what you're talking about here. She said, you know what, if they want to act like this and try to infiltrate our country, let Allah sort them out. And she got,
I love that.
She got a lot of flack for that. But you know what? Unlike all these politicians, these teleprompter readers, and these people looking at polls, what did she do? She didn't back down. She stuck to it because she understands what Islam is doing to the United States right now, especially under this administration and some of these other candidates who are empathetic.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. And where I was stationed at Camp Bucca, that was where the ISIS leader was also. And, I've seen evil, and I've looked at these evil people straight in the eye, and, it's really scary that these types of people are infiltrating our country. And, I really love Governor Palin and the things that she has to say. I think that's just awesome. Let Allah sort it out. Personally, I just went and bought 5,000 more rounds of ammo for my AR, so bring it on.
Well, there you go. And we didn't even touch on that, how this administration, the gun grabbers of America, right? And every time there's a tragedy, a shooting or something, they pounce on it and try to bring out their far-left liberal agenda to go against our Second Amendment rights.
Oh my God, it's ridiculous. With this Oregon thing, the victims weren't even identified yet, and Obama's practically sprinting from the golf course to get on the podium and talk about how he's going to politicize this. It's absolutely nauseating.